to speak from a poet's mindset and to read a poem called "Say Her Name" by Jean Monnet. Let me start by saying I'm a woman carrying other woman in my mouth. Behold, a sister, a daughter, a mother, dear friend. Spirits demystify on my tongue. They gather to breathe and exhale a dance with the death we know. Is not the end of all these nameless bodies haunted by pellet wounds in their chests. Listen for them in the saying of a name you cannot pronounce. Black and woman is a sort of magic. You cannot hashtag the mere weight of it is too vast to be held. We hold ourselves, an inheritance felt between these hips, womb of soft darkness, portal of light. Watch them envy the revolution of our movement, how we break open to give life flow. While the terror of our tears, the torment of our taste, my rage is righteous, my love is righteous, my name be righteous here, what I am not here to say. We too have died. We know we are dying too. I'm not here to say, look at me and how I died. So brutal a death, I deserve a name to fit all the horror in. I'm here to tell you how if they mentioned me in their protests and their rallies, they would have to face their role in it too, my beauty too. I have died many times before. The blow to the body. I have bled many months before the bullet to the flesh we know. The body is not the end. Call it what you will, but for all the handcuffed wrists of us the shackled, ankles of us, the bend over to make room for you, and us, how dare we speak anything less than I love you. We who love just as loudly in the thunderous rain as when the sun shines golden on our skin and the world kisses us unapologetically. We be so beautiful when we be. How you gonna be free without me? Your freedom tied up with mine at the nappy edge of my soul. Singing for all my sisters, watch them stretch their arms and my voice, how they fly open chest towards your ear. Listen for Rakia Boyd, Tanisha Anderson, Yvette Smith, Ayana Jones, Khalib Morshelli, Frey, Miriam Carey, Kendra James, Alberto Sprill, Tarika Wilson, Sharice Francis, Chantel Davis, Melissa Williams, Darnisha Harris, Michelle Cassell, Pearlie Golden, Katherine Johnson, Eleanor Bumpers, Natasha McKenna, Shanika Proctor. We will not vanish. And the bated breath of our brothers, show me a man willing to fight beside me, my hand in his, the color of courage. There is no mountaintop worth seeing without us. Meet me in the trenches where we lay our bodies down in the valley of a voice. Say her name. That's a poem by Ajay Monet.
Powerful, man. So that's some powerful stuff right there.
Stewie.
It's the bass. LOSO__G. DK, the engineer.
It's your boy, Letter After T, B4V. You go, boy.
It's the bass.
Run down.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So, you know how when you cough and you're in a room with somebody, you worry about getting sick from that cough?
No, but yeah. Sure,
That I thought that was rhetorical. Yes, I am concerned.
Yeah, you really don't, Los? You're crazy. Well, then you probably agree that Rona's not airborne. But apparently the CDC released something on the website, kind of talking about you can get infected from any airborne particles that are like lingering around from COVID and things like that. So they put up a thing, and I think in the exact language, because they put it up and then they took it down immediately, and then I believe the next day they put up an update to it. So the beginning, the language at first was there's growing evidence that droplets and airborne particles can remain suspended in the air and be breathed in by others and travel distances beyond 6 feet. For example, choir practice, who goes to choir practice, restaurants, or fitness classes. In general, indoor environments without good ventilation is an increased risk. So they took that down. There was like, why the hell are you taking this down? I mean, when I first initially heard this, I thought about the story from last week about how the Trump administration has been a lot more influential, or has been, kind of exerting their influence on the CDC. But then the next day they released an update just saying, pretty much like, recommending things like air purifiers, specifically for like indoor places and stuff like that. The usual stuff, and try to stay further away than 6 feet from other people. I think this is, I guess the only thing that concerns me, right, is just kind of like the flip-flop in between stuff, because I think it should be pretty obvious that, like, and mind you, even if it seems obvious, evidence is always like the best route to go with. That like you could get this, you know, like this is airborne, right? Or not airborne, that you can get this through the air. Like that seems kind of logical, right? And there's evidence supporting it, but you know, that kind of pulling back and then throwing the stuff out just because it kind of makes it seem like, you know, like you can't really trust it. I mean, the guidelines they kind of put out afterwards kind of made sense, you know, the clarity about like using air purifiers and stuff like that. But whatever, man. I felt like this goes back to more about like the fight between the Trump administration and CDC, more specifically on language, just because like America seems way too, or at least the Republicans and rich people, whatever, seem way too aggressive in trying to open up prematurely or as soon as possible. And I felt like they kind of wanted to kind of be like, yeah, this is kind of like maybe a thing, but you know, this is what you should be doing anyways to kind of prevent it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man.
So can I not go to choir practice? Because I live and die for choir practice.
Really? Fucking goober.
They just need to be consistent, man, because these anti-maskers, this is just giving them more like fodder.
Yeah.
Yo, like you already got enough COVIDiots, which have contributed to the 200,000 dead. So, you know, if the CDC isn't consistent, I could just hear them in my head now, like, see, this is why we don't wear masks, because we don't want to breathe in our own CO2 and the 5G.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well,
the main things they keep arguing about is like the language. Like they're being very careful with language, which I could understand. Like that's definitely important, right? Like you want to put things out there. You want people to be like alert, you know, cautious, but you don't want them to go into like a state of frenzy. But like this just feels like this, and you know, just them trying to retroactively change language on stuff. It seems like a little bit too much, you know. Like I feel like, you know, let them operate with whatever autonomy they need, and like, you know, it's for the benefit of everybody. But you know, politics.
Wow.
Politics.
Yeah, it's like it's funny because, you know, just the changing of information, even like updating, you know, our collective knowledge. Like for example, you had people who denied global warming, and then the popular science was refined to refer to climate change. And people use that refinement of the idea to completely discredit the idea that climate change is a thing. It's like, oh, whoa, I thought it was global warming. Now it's climate change. But like, you know, because we don't learn more shit. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. You always have people that kind of use that sort of like any sort of change in information. And I think that is deliberate. I think like if you work, if you're in a position of disseminating information, if you change things frequently when they don't need to be changed, right? It's either A, a sign of incompetence, or B, there's some sort of agenda. I don't know. I won't say that there is some sort of agenda or whatever, but it's interesting. Let's say that things are changing.
They just need to be I completely 100% agree. Like they just need to be consistent. It's the same reason why in sports, like when you see people complain about the officials, they complain about the refs, not necessarily because the refs made a shitty call, because they always make shitty calls. Like in any sport, that's just a part of it. It's human error. It's a judgment call. The thing is, okay, if you're gonna make a shitty call against my team, you better make a shitty call against the other team. That just better be the shitty call of the game. Be consistent. That's all. Either be shitty toward everybody or don't be shitty at all. You know what I mean? So with this, like have the data and have the information, be consistent, stand by it. Because if you don't, the COVIDiots are gonna have more of an argument and be like, yeah, see, it's a hoax. 5G.
It's also another also another
old meme.
It's also another testament to the precision of language. Why we need people to be very precise when they say what they say, because people can twist the words, come back and be like, oh, but that's not what you said exactly. And now we have people dying because somebody wasn't precise in what they're saying.
200,000 and counting.
And counting.
Oops.
Well, while we're on the topic of deaths.
Yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice, passed away.
Who's that?
At age 87.
Playing.
You're trash.
Right? She
I'm playing.
died last Friday. She was appointed by President Clinton in 1993, and she served ever since. Because whenever you become a Supreme Court justice, you serve for life, or at least until you retire.
Until you retire.
So she was considered a left-leaning liberal justice, but in general, she is pretty highly regarded. The fact that she's a female justice, female Jewish justice, who's always stood up for civil rights, things of that nature,
Right,
and especially in recent years, she's gained sort of a big following, particularly, funny enough, with young people.
The progressives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
She tackled same-sex marriage. She tackled abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was, affectionately known as the notorious RBG.
Hey.
But unfortunately, she passed away, and now the Supreme Court justice slot is open, and that's where we are, circa 2020.
It's time, head boy. It's time. You're supreme. You're supreme. You're just ice.
Fuck, I'm not
just ice. Oh my god!
Wow. Oh man.
How did we get there?
That's the justice that America deserves.
if it were
we need some random fucking guy.
If it were up to the GOP and the Republicans, it would be just ice that got put in there.
Got Remy and just ice.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
But yeah, it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I think the controversy, this is an aside, but the controversy surrounding this is that obviously whenever there's a Supreme Court justice spot to be filled, the president makes that decision to be reviewed by the Senate, et cetera, et cetera. People, or at least on, more left-leaning people, are worried about Trump putting in a more right-leaning justice, which is interesting because prior, before Obama left office, he selected Merrick Garland to become the next Supreme Court justice. And basically, the GOP delayed the process, saying that the next president deserves to select the Supreme Court justice. But now they sort of reversed their stance and saying, oh, we need to fill the spot immediately, which just goes to show that politics is very much a game about power. And it's interesting because people are saying that, oh, yeah, Republicans aren't being consistent. And I actually disagree with that. I think they're being very consistent.
Consistently evil?
Well, it's just that the values... It's just that, right? So they're saying, oh, we felt one thing one way, we felt one thing the other, but they're not looking at their values. Like political parties, their values are to exert their power and to push their agendas. That's what their values are, even if they don't express it to us explicitly. So I think they're being very consistent in this sort of line of thought, unfortunately. But yeah, that's where we're at.
What do you guys think of the conspiracy that if Trump were to lose come November, that the only reason why they're rushing to get their own just ice into office there is to help strengthen their case to contest the outcome of November and keep him in power if he were to lose via the electoral vote come November? Do you guys think that this Alex Jones conspiracy is crazy enough, or do you guys see it?
I think that's crazy because even the worst case, even with justices that you can consider ideologically driven towards the right, which Trump represents, I can't see them having that sort of support. Surprisingly, so far, the justices have been, at least from the cases that I've seen, have been pretty, I won't say fair because I can't, make that kind of judgment, but they've at least followed the principles at least laid out by the Constitution. We'll see. I think that's kind of a stretch. I think any sort of thing that Trump isn't going to give up the presidency. I don't know. That would be a huge stretch. There would have to be a huge fucking that would be the biggest thing. That would be the biggest shenanigans pulled in American history.
Shenanigans.
Like that would be, and if he could do it, honestly, if he could do some shit like that legally, hey, hats off to him, bro. You just did some shit that's fucking out of control. But I don't see that being a real thing.
No, I'll put up a status because Mike Pence, they were interviewing him earlier this week. They had a big rally in the Pittsburgh area, of course, because Pennsylvania is a swing state. Shocker. Over at Pittsburgh International Airport around Moon County, I believe. Moon County, I believe.
Okay.
They were interviewing Mike Pence, and he was like, "It's very important that we get somebody in there as soon as possible. It's very, very, very important that we get some." And then I was just reading all the subtweets and just I've seen enough Batman movies to see a master scheme by the Joker or Riddler to know a grand scheme when I see one. Where's Harvey Dent? We believe.
It's funny because in this case, the law is in their side. They don't even have to really pull off a grand scheme, right? They just have to go through the normal process. And since that they have the Senate, right? Unless you have some Senate defectors, they're pretty much guaranteed to get someone in, unless someone like Romney says "fuck you" to Trump, and I don't know, it's looking like they're gonna get somebody in there. So
I agree. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it because
we'll see.
It should be interesting. November is right around the corner, guys. Right around the corner.
And the fucking election is on my birthday.
Ah, sweet.
A present to you.
Right.
Are you voting? Are you voting?
Yeah.
Nah, that's too long. I don't think you're voting.
I'll speed it up in the edits. I'll just make it look like it's fast.
He's like, "Are you voting?" Yeah.
or just put a voice behind them like "fuck no."
I'm gonna say yeah. Fuck no.
It's gonna have to be a fucking switch frame. Are you voting? Yes.
it'll be a jump cut.
Yeah, jump.
But continuing on the topic of the government stealing from us and doing shady shits with our monies behind our backs.
Now streaming on Netflix.
This you know what? These are not streaming. That's funny. This brings me to a morality question, right? That's how do you feel about paying taxes even though you don't know what your money is going towards?
Dude,
I have to feel good with it because they're gonna do it anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
That's such a deep question. It's a deep question because it goes at I don't think most people could, myself included, could answer that question without answering mad other questions before that. Because it's what do you fundamentally believe? Like there's some people that believe that taxes inherently are theft. It's you're taking my money. I don't have a choice but to give you my money. Yeah. And it's, you're using the threat of violence to take my shit. Where other people would be like, hey, we need to pay for X, Y. That's too deep question.
It's so multi-layered because it's all right, you're taking my money to possibly give it back to me later based on a set of circumstances at your discretion. That's really what tax returns are.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is I remember when I went to Nigeria back in 2017. We don't call them servants or whatever. We call them domestic workers. So we hire a
so
that's marketing.
It's not slave.
We don't call them servants. We call them domestic.
Wait a minute.
It's not slavery. It's
not slavery.
Volunteer work
or indentured service, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I was talking to one of the domestic workers for my cousin out there, and his name was Jean-Claude. That was really his name. I can't make this up. He was Nigerian.
Yo,
they allowed him to talk to you. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, what's up?
Y'all be having some funny names.
We really do. We really do.
Like
we really do.
Like
That's not a stretch.
like they'll name somebody like I don't even know. I'm trying to think of a name like
Ugo.
like a celebrity,
Yeah.
or like Hitler or something. Like just random.
Wow.
shit,
Okay,
bro.
we don't do that wild shit. Like,
No,
here you go.
not Nigerians in general. I read in the
hero equality for all.
Have you ever read this is an aside, Trevor Noah's book?
Yeah.
I haven't read
so-
I haven't read his
Time.
book. No, I have not.
So he actually had a friend when he was young named Hitler, and he said it was a common thing in like South Africa to like name your kid after like someone like a historical figure, someone strong, but like they didn't have the historical context of like knowing completely of who Hitler was, so they just thought that was a strong ass name. So they're
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
fucking Hitler.
What did they read?
Yeah, what did they read? That's nuts.
Like I can't imagine. They must have read something from that era, yo. It must have been his fucking book.
Had to.
That's ridiculous.
But let me finish my point about his name wasn't Hitler. It was Jean-Claude, and I remember talking to him. We were getting ready for lunch, and I was explaining to him. I was like, you know what, Jean-Claude, you need to get a green card. You need to come to the States, man. For sure, because like I can set you up. You know what I mean? Get you a good paying job. You could be a U.S. citizen or dual citizenship. And he was just like, yeah, man, that's good. I was like, but you got to pay taxes, though. He's like, what are taxes? So I was like, all right, let me break it down to you like this. All right, so say the government pays me $100, right, for a week's worth of work. They take 40% of it. So they take $40. So I get $60 left. And he was like, why would I want to do that? That sounds like, oh my goodness. I was like, that's America, man.
But you should have put an asterisk, but you said, but my man, we have roads.
But we have roads.
And we have roads.
And we have roads, we have firefighters, and we have policemen that beat our ass if you're black or Latino. So, hey, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off.
You gotta choose.
And they may or may not give you that $40 back based on a set of circumstances at their discretion.
You gotta choose. But if you can make it
you
here,
might get it back if you live to like 66 and you get Social Security, but you have to make it.
Yeah.
You gotta make it to 66.
You gotta make it.
Make it whatever it is, for sure.
That's so fucked up.
Well, while we're on the topic of the government beating money out of us, across this article about the Pentagon and their slick asses. So you know how mad people got money? Well, the CARES Act gave some money to the Pentagon, and it was to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. But you know what they did? They got that money, and they were like, nah, man. You know what? Now we got to worry about this other stuff too in order to protect ourselves and stuff like that. And they started funneling money into other projects. And essentially they were saying that they had to do that because they had to find a fine line between between boosting American medical production and also supporting the defense industry. And I mean, I read this and I get upset, right? Because it's just like, there's a few other things they mentioned, right? So, it's just like money that we clearly need here. And, there's always other people just bringing up other points. Like apparently we need like $6 billion just to distribute vaccines and stuff like that. And I mean, when we're talking about money right now, especially things dealing like something, that crosses states, right? We're going to be talking the billions, but that's besides the point. They're taking money and moving it into their pockets. And like, I'm not surprised, but I think it's just important to kind of point out because it's just like, things like this were definitely were happening before. But I definitely think that like this period of COVID, bro, I think people are going to look back at this in history as like just fraud central, bro. Like I can only imagine the amount of fraud that is going on like right fucking now, son.
What's wild too is, and every time I hear an idiotic Republican or Steve Mnuchin, that asshole, or Tim Meadows, any of those guys, any of one of Trump's freaking golf buddies talking about, well, we've got to be fiscally responsible. And, the government, we just can't keep giving out money, this, that, there. We've got to be responsible. I'm just like, you just gave, mind you, the Pentagon had like a budget of something crazy, like, what was it, like 40 billion or something around that already before they gave them this money. You know what I mean? So it's not like they were hurting. It's not like they were like about to file for bankruptcy or they were like about to just go to the poorhouse. They already had a freaking threshold and money in the bank reserved already, but they gave them additional money. Meanwhile, freaking Democrats are just saying like, yeah, so people don't have jobs now, and they're about to be evicted, and they don't know where their next meal's coming from. But we got to be fiscally responsible. Like, come on, man! The hypocrisy is on another level, and when you see stuff like this, it's only heightened. So yeah, Steve Mnuchin's an asshole.
Well,
Shocker.
according to the Department of Defense and the Pentagon, they were funneling money to fund projects and that were underfunded, according to them. So apparently, whatever their budget is, isn't enough to keep up with everything they have going on.
Bro,
What, to buy their freaking Death Star equipment and their stormtrooper outfits?
Right.
Like,
I think they were paying for like drones and stuff like that. There was like a list of things that they fucking mentioned there, man.
Whoa! Counter argument, right? By supporting the defense industry, they're keeping American jobs. They're keeping Americans working.
it's helping Americans find something new. Embrace chaos.
I want a jet.
You know,
I want a jet too. Fuck it. Put money
there's always silver lining.
Dog, I want a freaking Autobot or a Decepticon in my backyard. That's what I want. Like screw my unemployment.
Right.
I want Megatron in my backyard.
Give me a fucking drone.
Oh, speaking of, completely unrelated, but did you guys see the life-size like Gundam that
Yes.
they made in Japan?
Yes, I did.
A while
I saw
ago.
that.
You mean another
Yeah.
one?
That's okay. You got the listen, DOD. You guys can use our money for that. We don't have any fucking Gundams. Japan has a Gundam. Catch the fuck up. You guys are still fucking with drones, bro.
Yeah,
You didn't see fucking Metal Gear Solid 2. The drones didn't do shit to Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, but bro, if Japan has it, we have it. We own Japan. Come on, you should know this.
Yeah, there's too many old people there, and who they gonna buy? Who they gonna sell PlayStations to if we can't? If they are we're their biggest. We're their biggest fucking market.
Consumer. That's funny. Does a Gundam move?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Dude, it's on Twitter.
No, yeah, you should look it up. It actually moves. Like it actually could articulate its fingers. Like I think it's at this theme park. It's like at a Gundam theme park, but it's like a legit moving giant ass robot.
Dog, we're gonna have
America. We gotta race them.
We're gonna have them ready to deploy for World Wars 4 and 5 before you guys know it. So get ready for that.
I'm just hoping that like the police here get a hold of that, because could you imagine them using a Gundam to break into your house while you're sleeping and then killing you?
How is that
Getting away with it?
house? They're stepping on your house. It's not even.
Oh, segue God from the top rope as always. Yeah. So we've been building to this moment, this moment that the Attorney General of Kentucky, Daniel Cameron, that's that coon's name. I'm sure that's his name. Yeah, Daniel Cameron. We were waiting and waiting. We were waiting and waiting for this guy to make the announcements of if formal charges were going to be brought against the 3 officers involved in the senseless death of the lovely Breonna Taylor. Rest in peace.
And here we are.
And here we are. He made the announcement circa yesterday, September 22nd, that charges would be brought toward one of the officers. The other 2 were them returning fire was deemed justified, and the one officer, Hankinson, I believe, he was charged 3 counts of wonton soup endangerment. So basically, wanton endangerment.
Wait! Wonton soup?
That's
what?
I call it wonton soup. Wonton endangerment.
Oh, okay.
Wanton endangerment.
Wanton endangerment. So wanton endangerment is another word for reckless endangerment
Or
or
people
reckless.
in the surrounding area.
Exactly. He was charged for shooting like a fucking idiot into just wherever, just straight soldier boy, pow pow pow.
Instead of Abriano.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of actually involuntary manslaughter or voluntary manslaughter, which seemed more sensible in this case, best case scenario, it was going to be manslaughter charges for the 3 officers. That wasn't really realistic, but that was the best case scenario. What we got was that the bullets fired toward the walls and the surrounding area, he was charged for those, not the 6 that actually struck and killed Breonna Taylor, because this is America.
What I find interesting about the case is that Walker, the person who actually shot back at the cops, was his charges were dropped, which is very interesting. It's just interesting how the law works. So apparently his charges were dropped because since he wasn't aware that the police were entering the space, he had legitimate reason to think he was acting in self-defense, which is actually interesting. It's interesting that they granted him that. I just find that.
Well, I told you guys, I listened to the audio recordings of his actual interview that night. And and again, I encourage our viewers and I encourage you guys to go and listen to them yourselves, because it's very, very, when I saw him his charges dropped, I was like, they actually paid attention to his interview, because he was talking to IA, and he was just like, yeah, like at first they were really aggressive with me. They were asking me, was there a white person in there with drugs? And once they realized that they fucked up, their whole mood changed. Like they screwed up, like clear as day. Somebody died as a result of it, but they screwed up. Yeah. And he's gonna get a settlement at some point. I'm pretty sure he's suing right now. I don't know with Ben Crump or with a civil rights attorney, but he'll get his money as well. But again, what's ridiculous about this story on so many levels is I knew that Daniel Cameron was gonna acquiesce to his masses up in Washington, because if I'm not mistaken, did he not speak at the Republican National Convention? He did. I
wasn't there. I didn't go this year.
Jose didn't go this year, but he did. He spoke at the RNC, like Herschel Walker and the rest of the Sambos. So it's like, so you knew.
What about Candace Owens?
Candace was not invited.
Well,
she did not. She didn't tap dance enough.
Just to rub it in.
So
he was handpicked. He was handpicked by Trump and Mitch McConnell to speak there, but not only to speak there, but to take care of this matter, quote unquote. And Trump called him a star. He called him a star the same day when they asked him about it. He's like, yeah, he was a real star. He handled it exactly how he should be. Because again, who the police union in Kentucky, you guys can look it up right now. Who do you think they support in this upcoming election?
Trump.
I'm just guessing. So why would he bring formal charges? Pence. Why would he bring formal charges against a police union or three officers in a police union that support him? Come on, man.
Well,
common sense, guys.
Here's the thing. It's not this. The story isn't over, because here's my major contention, right? Like, it's unfortunate what happened, right? And all the cops that were there should be held liable. However, the investigation of Mattingly and other 5 officers that were involved with the planning and execution of the no-knock warrant, the FBI is investigating that, supposedly.
That's true. That's true.
And the Louisville Metro Police are investigating it as well. And I'm very interested as to how that'll turn up, because problems like this. Here's the thing, right? So an order will come from the top, and the police, for all they know, they're executing a warrant that was, they're just quote unquote doing their job or whatever, right? So whenever shit like this happens, it's the officers on the ground that take the fall, but it's rarely the brass or anyone that actually put them up to it. They're generally insulated. So I think I'm very curious as to how this turns out. That's just interesting to me.
I just find it kind of just interesting as well that again, the Breonna Taylor's family got $12 million for a wrongful death suit, if I'm not mistaken. Wrongful death. Yep. Now one of the 3 officers no one was charged with manslaughter. Or which is by definition a wrongful killing, or an involuntary manslaughter, which is.
But wasn't it a settlement though?
The settlement was the money.
The settlement. I mean, I get what you're saying. But
I just don't see the court. The correlation, it doesn't make sense to me. Make it make sense.
No, you're right. I understand, but like legally, a lot of settlements are done without admission of guilt, right?
True.
So
that's true.
I could shoot you in the leg, be negligent, pay you $10 million without admission of guilt, but still not be criminally prosecuted.
That's true. That's true. But but if you go back to Daniel Cameron,
but I know if you're talking logically, it doesn't make sense.
Daniel Cameron's comments, and again, as a black man, it's even worse. He comes out and he's like, we need to read the Bible. Because I watched his whole speech. I had to. I had to. He's like, yeah, we got to.
Why do people invoke the Bible when they have nothing to say?
Sympathy. Number one, Kentucky.
That's not going to do anything.
Kentucky's a red state, so they're conservative. That's
The
number
real
one.
religion.
And number two, the real religion. And number two, he's got to play up. He's like, this is a tragedy. First and foremost, we need to understand that this was a tragedy. No, it's a tragedy that you decided to, play up to your masses and do and acquiesce to what they wanted to do instead of doing the right thing. But what is the right thing? Who knows?
Yeah, so we'll see how this develops.
The governor of
curious.
Kentucky. Sorry, DK, to cut you off, but the governor of Kentucky.
No,
the governor of Kentucky did send out a tweet. He is demanding that all the evidence be released from the case, what can be released? Because I know that grand jury panels, a lot of their stuff is secret. It's sealed. By law, it can't be uncovered unless it's by the FBI or CIA.
Funny
or
thing
something
about
like
that.
So it's interesting. The story isn't over yet, believe it or not.
Funny thing about that, right? So I'm gonna inject something real quick because I actually sat on a grand jury for a month.
Nice,
right? A few years ago. And it's very interesting.
Just Ice.
Just Ice.
Right?
Law and Order. The theme is playing in the background.
It's very interesting how it goes down. I'm not going to talk about the whole experience because that could be its own episode because it really gave me a good look about how the justice system works. And if they want somebody,
you could watch SVU for that.
Yeah, or the Wire.
Right.
No, that's just
serious.
Or the Wire.
You don't watch SVU. What do you know? So yeah. So now you're a lawyer, Edwin. Now you're a lawyer.
No, I'm not a lawyer. So it's like if they want to charge somebody with something, they'll get you with something because they'll phrase things in a way where you'll have no choice pretty much unless you're just being negligent to rule it true bill and the true bill. And so when you're in grand jury, a true bill is basically there's enough evidence to go to trial, right? So they'll say, innocent or true bill or whatever, something like that. But what's interesting about it, the thing about grand jury is that when you're on the grand jury, you see things that you'll see on the news, right? That same day or something you've seen previously or something that hasn't been released yet. It's very interesting. So they tell you to not take in any information, like any information outside of the courtroom shouldn't be considered in your decision because sometimes you don't rule on the case on the same day, right? We could see a hearing one day, and then it could be stretched over a week, weeks, however long. So it's just very interesting how that information, and they tell you explicitly, you're not supposed to tell anyone anything, and you're not supposed to take in any information, but realistically, that doesn't even happen. That doesn't even happen because I've seen lawyers talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone talks. Like everyone.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know. It's interesting. Everyone talks. That thing where it's like, oh yeah, information, isn't coming out, or you shouldn't take any other information in consideration. That's bullshit, bro.
I believe it. We'll see where the story goes.
How you think OJ got off? Sorry.
Johnny Cochran.
Oh, how do I think OJ got off? Really good lawyers and a jury that didn't want to convict him.
Not just that, but the defense was really shitty. And I'm sorry, the prosecutors were really shitty. Their
prosecution,
their whole the cops. They were interviewing them. They were unprepared. They messed up crime scenes. They compromised crime scenes. It was easy for them. I watched OJ Made in America. It was a 6-part documentary on ESPN.
Should have been a fucking layup, bro.
I watched that every episode, just glued to my what? And they broke it down even in detail. They were just yo. Even the prosecutors, they were interviewing the prosecutors, yo, we fucked up, plain and simple. They weren't even bashful or shy about it. It's yeah, we really fucked up. we definitely could have got him because he definitely did it. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he put himself in jail
He
many
did.
times.
It
so
gets
whatever.
to that too, like in part 6, how he fucked up. He gets himself arrested. But
Yeah, it's like, bro, you get out of prison after murdering two people scot-free,
a double
bro,
homicide.
you take that and you
Dude,
disappear.
a double homicide as a black man?
He wrote a book
In
and said-
America? Nigga.
Yeah. Well, fuck OJ.
He's not black. He's OJ.
Okay.
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 All right, getting back to the case at hand. Was good, Loso.
to speak from a poet's mindset and to read a poem called "Say Her Name" by Aja Monet. Let me start by saying I'm a woman carrying other woman in my mouth. Behold, a sister, a daughter, a mother, dear friend. Spirits demystify on my tongue. They gather to breathe and exhale a dance with the death we know. Is not the end of all these nameless bodies haunted by pellet wounds in their chests. Listen for them in the saying of a name you cannot pronounce. Black and woman is a sort of magic. You cannot hashtag the mere weight of it is too vast to be held. We hold ourselves, an inheritance felt between these hips, womb of soft darkness, portal of light. Watch them envy the revolution of our movement, how we break open to give life flow. While the terror of our tears, the torment of our taste, my rage is righteous, my love is righteous, my name be righteous here, what I am not here to say. We too have died. We know we are dying too. I'm not here to say, look at me and how I died. So brutal a death, I deserve a name to fit all the horror in. I'm here to tell you how if they mentioned me in their protests and their rallies, they would have to face their role in it too, my beauty too. I have died many times before. The blow to the body. I have bled many months before the bullet to the flesh we know. The body is not the end. Call it what you will, but for all the handcuffed wrists of us the shackled, ankles of us, the bend over to make room for you, and us, how dare we speak anything less than I love you. We who love just as loudly in the thunderous rain as when the sun shines golden on our skin and the world kisses us unapologetically. We be so beautiful when we be. How you gonna be free without me? Your freedom tied up with mine at the nappy edge of my soul. Singing for all my sisters, watch them stretch their arms and my voice, how they fly open chest towards your ear. Listen for Rakia Boyd, Tanisha Anderson, Yvette Smith, Ayanna Jones, Caleb Morshelly, Frey, Miriam Carey, Kendra James, Alberto Sprill, Tarika Wilson, Sharice Francis, Chantel Davis, Melissa Williams, Darnisha Harris, Michelle Cassell, Pearlie Golden, Katherine Johnson, Eleanor Bumpers, Natasha McKenna, Shanika Proctor. We will not vanish. And the bated breath of our brothers, show me a man willing to fight beside me, my hand in the color of courage. There is no mountaintop worth seeing without us. Meet me in the trenches where we lay our bodies down in the valley of a voice. Say her name. That's a poem by Aja Monet.
Powerful, man. So that's some powerful stuff right there.
And
It's hard
to. Breonna Taylor has been a consistent topic on the rundown, and it's scary that if we don't talk about her, she isn't brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also scary that a lot of this happens consistently, where people of color are just kind of put to the wayside, like like our lives don't matter. If it's not property, then it doesn't matter at all.
I heard somewhere that it was the summer of George Floyd, and it's about to be the fall of Breonna Taylor, and that's not shocking. I mean, if that's what it takes to help continue the fight for reform? So be it, man.
Right. Edwin, say a joke.
Dope poem.
No, it wasn't a joke. I said your delivery is good.
When I said say a joke, it's my bad.
You clearly proofread your stuff, and that was clearly proofread. Unlike this Wells Fargo CEO who clearly didn't read his shit before he sent that shit out.
Segway God is on one today. Like, can we just take a moment and just accept that and just love that? Like,
he's just crossing over.
From the top rope.
Yeah.
Okay. I shared this story, so I'll tee it up. Wells Fargo, who I'm about to close my account with them very shortly.
Bro, you should have been closed the account. And it has nothing to do with this. Remember when they got slapped by the SEC for opening accounts, soliciting accounts, all that bullshit? That should have been the last straw, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, this is the last straw. I'm closing it this week anyway. So, so anyway, the CEO of Wells Fargo, he ruffled some feathers with some very unsavory comments. Basically, there was a conference call that they had a few months ago, I believe, during again the whole racial awareness. A lot of big corporations, banks, companies, they were doing like these diversity Zoom chats with members of staff and like HR and so forth and so on. So he was on one, definitely on one, literally one of those diversity chats, and he made just reckless yet Freudian slip, really, basically saying that it's not fair that there aren't more people of color in higher positions in organizations like Wells Fargo, but it's very difficult to find applicants. So basically, they're just not there. We can't find them and we can't hire them because they're just not there.
Well, did he say not find applicants or talent? Because I think what he's implying is that he doesn't have, I think he's not saying that. I didn't read into it that there's not enough applicants, that there's not enough qualified applicants that they would hire or that they want.
Where's the quote?
I think that's what he's suggesting.
Well, let's bring up the quote. Let's bring up the quote because it's in the article.
I think you're right. I think it's talent, boy.
I'm pretty sure it's talent as well, or I think it's talent. It's one of the two.
While it may sound like an excuse, wait, who's the heck is?
No, it's not an excuse. I think
Whoa! I was literally like just reading one of the quotes, bro. I wasn't.
Oh, my man.
Like,
yeah, he was. Good job, that boy.
Damn, yo, this guy got mad defensive.
Whoa!
I'm trying to find the exact quote that he said, but I think he replied back and he said, while it may have sounded like an excuse, the unfortunate reality is that there is a very limited pool of black talent to recruit from.
Exactly.
I'm trying to find the exact quote because I have strong opinions about this. Me being like the only Latino / black person in most of my jobs, like that's like I have strong opinions about that. But yeah, finish before I go.
No,
you're the only talented one, DK. That's why.
No, this comment was, and he did the Michael Jackson moonwalk. He apologized for that. His comments were taken out of context. He did that the very next day, recently this week. But this is what Black Lives Matters and a lot of organizations, the NAACP and and so much of this racial awareness that's going on. This is what we are talking about. Like, for you to come out with that statement only proves our point. Like, there's not a small pool. The fact that you would even say that goes back to, I remember Hawk Harrelson, the guy he's the head of the of BLM in New York, and he was on Candace Owens' show. This was a couple episodes. I mentioned this. He has a friend that's a diversity officer. His job, this is what he gets paid to do. His job is to go to companies like Wells Fargo and Charles Schwab and Merrill Lynch and you name it, and basically teach H&R and their CEOs and their hiring officers, teach them not to be oppressive, to teach them not to be racist, to teach them to not bask in their white privilege. Like they exist to prevent him from saying shit like this, to hide behind it. You know what I mean? Because that's all he's doing. He's like, yeah, it's a small pool. That's why we don't have that many. Like, no, it's a small pool that you created because you feel threatened by blacks and Latinos and people of color. That's the issue. That is the issue. So him saying this just proves it. And he Michael Jackson moonwalked from it because his white privilege slipped out.
I'll let DK talk, but I don't think we can extrapolate all of that based on what he said. But I'll explain why. But I think DK,
I see it clear as day. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
That boy's like, he's right. There is no black talent.
That's not.
Yo, fam.
Yo, DK, you're muted. You're talking. We can't hear you.
Oh, all right. My fault. So here's kind of like the thing, right? There's mad layers to that, right? Because hiring, people think it's an art, but it's there's very many ways to get hired into a company.
True.
Right.
But I first want to kind of like just put out the idea of genius, like the myth of genius out there, because I feel like people kind of have this idea of what intelligence should look like, how people should act, and things like that, and what a successful person, I guess they have a model of that. And I think that's important specifically, when people out there are interviewing for jobs and they don't look exactly like the person you want them to look like. Then there's the other thing that like, there's already a lot of people, there's the generational wealth type stuff, right? Like a lot of us did not have access to that. A lot of our grandparents didn't have any access to that. And you know what? Like they're going to grow up around a lot of people that are going to be able to get them jobs, right? Like, and I can only speak about the jobs that I've had, but they fucking love referrals. And not for nothing, man. When we start a company, you really think I'm going to hire some random person over, somebody that I know that I trust that's going to be able to do, the job well? Because like the one thing with jobs, right, is that I feel like, and going back to the thing of genius, I feel like that's overrated because I found that genius is not a thing. And really what'll set you apart is just like your ability to kind of like want to learn something and just kind of like to stick it out. So the only reason I bring that up is because like I think a lot of like recruiting in period, right? Like you got to build a pipeline of people. And if you're let's say a white recruiter, right, you're probably going to have a lot more white people in your pipeline. So that's, I think, one thing to think about. And then there's the other, just the language of interviewing for stuff. Like there's just specific things that you have to say and stuff like that. And if like you don't know anybody in the industry, you're not going to be able to get in. So I don't feel like that answers the question at all. It's just specific things I want to point out. So like I think when he said that they have a very limited pool of black talent to recruit from, that's clearly a problem. I'm sure you could find black people that you can recruit or people that are just as capable. But then, it's just like, how are they going to build that pipeline? You know what I mean? Like there's just so many things to that because there's the generational stuff. There's just the whole process of interviewing and stuff like that. And then I don't even know like the type of jobs that like, like if we were to grab the percentage of people that got degrees from that thing, right? Are they going to fucking all be black? What are they going to do? No. Is everybody black and Latino playing baseball and rapping? Like, but I don't know. Just kind of a lot of things I want to put out there because it's just like like every company I've ever worked at, it's like everybody's white, bro. Everybody's white. And not even that. They're not even from New York. So I don't know, man. I just feel kind of like I feel super out of place at work. So it's just like I can't imagine them hiring more people like me, more just based on my personality. But whatever, man.
It sounds like
just stuff.
It sounds like you run a consulting business, DK, on how to.
Yeah, you should be a diversity officer. You should be Hawk Harrelson's.
DK's diversity.
I'm not into pandering, bro. That's the one thing I don't like, man. I don't like that fucking pandering bullshit because I don't feel if you're not paying me more fucking money, then fuck you. Like we don't gotta talk. That's what I think matters. Pay people more money.
Like my opinion on this kind of mirrors what DK says because it's not like I can't extrapolate that this particular person just doesn't want to hire black people because he's I can't maybe it's the case, but I can't extrapolate that based on what he's saying. I think it's a multi-faceted thing, like DK saying. I think the huge problem is the problem of networks, like just getting, like DK said, primarily people hire people in their network, their pipeline, referrals, things of that nature. People hire people like them or people that they could identify with, right? And that has a lot to do with it. It's just one of the disadvantages that people of color deal with is, I guess, that lack of network over generations, right? So it's like you have one group of people that have built this compound interest of like social capital that other people don't have. So even let's say if there is a quote unquote person that is talented, right? What a company considers talent isn't necessarily objective talent. So it's like you can have two people, you can have the same skills, but I relate to this person. This person is a better fit for our company for whatever reason, and he has an in because he knows X, Y, and Z. Well, he's probably going to get the job. I also think that a lot of it does have to do with like, and this is like way more foundational. This is way more foundational, but it's like an educational gap. Because I don't know, I'm pretty fortunate. Like I went to public school until high school, went to a public college. I was fortunate to go to decent schools, but the vast majority of people who are low in income, maybe, you know, many who are Black and Hispanic don't have that exposure. And it kind of compounds over time. It's not only just what they learn, it's the people that they meet, the people that they associate with. So it's like, I think it's a way more fundamental thing than, okay, you know, this CEO is just like a dick. It's like, it reflects the greater problem in our society. I don't know. That's all I had to say.
Well, this statement is drenched in white privilege. I still stand by that. You know, I don't disagree. I'm not coming out. Yeah.
Oh no, I 100% agree with that. Like, there's definitely, but yeah, keep going. Sorry.
No, exactly. That's my main point there. I mean, I don't want it to come out to make it come off like yo, this guy has a MAGA hat that he couldn't wait to put on. Like
he probably does. Though.
He probably does vote for Trump.
No, he's too rich to have. Once you get a certain amount of wealth, you don't care who wins. You won regardless. You don't care.
Pretty much.
You don't care. He's not wearing a MAGA hat. He's too rich for that.
I just know that a lot of CEOs, a lot of banks, of big corporations, of pharmaceutical companies, a big business or whatever, you know what I mean? Their white privilege is very similar, if not congruent and concurrent with what this man stated. And he Michael Jackson moonwalked from it. So obviously somebody in PR got a hold of him and was like, wait a minute, bro.
Can't say that shit, bro.
Can't say that shit. It might be true. That's how you feel, but you can't say that. Definitely can't say it now.
See, so that's where they fucked up.
It's an issue.
That's where they fucked up, right? So like even like this could have been like a thing. This could have been a turning point. This could have been a conversation. This could have been a thing.
Teachable moment.
Right? I mean, well, not even teaching, but it's like, yo, like even if I'm a calculating PR person who doesn't give a shit about like actually addressing any issue, right? Like just apologizing, walking back on it and saying, oh, he misconstrued me. It's like, holy shit. Like now you're going to be seen as like disingenuous. You just look stupid at that point. Like, why not like create a greater conversation? Why not invite like even if it's like, I don't know, it's just from like or whatever, but even if it's like why not invite some sort of conversation? Why not be like, hey, I was wrong. Why don't I like, that was a perfect time for Wells Fargo to not look clownish again. But I don't know. Their PR people fucked up.
They could have doubled down and be like,
they could have spun that.
Yeah.
I should work in PR. I'm like, bro, don't apologize, right? Or maybe apologize a little bit, but like invite conversation and bring a whole bunch of Black people and create a commercial, hire a bunch of guys, bro. You're in the money now. You know, hashtag BLM. Come on, PR. You're fucking.
They could have flipped it. They could have flipped it.
No, I saw on Twitter this chick. She's a banker, and she like quote tweeted this tweet when it came out that the CEO said this. She was like, "Listen, I've been a banker for like, I don't know, like 10 or 15 years." She's like, "I applied for like 3 different positions at Wells Fargo, and I got turned down." She's like, "I was super qualified for like all 3 of them." She's like, I applied for all 3 and got turned down." She's like, "I waited a year, applied again, but didn't put down that I was Black." And she's like, "I got the position the very next day." And I was like, now that very well may be bullshit. She very well might be.
Yeah, why the fuck would you try so hard to work for?
She could very well be trolling.
Why would you not, bro?
She said she turned it down too. She said fuck Wells Fargo. She just did it to prove a point. But you know, it's not surprising. It's not. You know, the way white privilege works. ...
Well, while we're on the topic of white privilege, let's talk about our boy who became a hero recently.
Mr. Rittenhouse.
Oh man, on this episode of #Education, Kyle Rittenhouse, American hero. He there was an ISD school. I don't know what ISD stands for. Can somebody look that up?
Intermediate School District.
That's what it stands for.
Hey,
Yahtzee. Well, yeah, way to go.
So I wasn't close.
Ed Boy was close. Anyway, one of their teachers had a world history heroes assignment, and so the teacher lists a whole bunch of like important figures in the U.S. and world history, like Malcolm X, Gandhi, so forth and so on. And one of the heroes listed was Kyle Rittenhouse. And one of the parents got a hold of this, went right to local news, and they just I have Fab's response. Fab was just like, nigga. But yeah, brought this to local news, and they were just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, he is a you put up Rittenhouse next to Malcolm X and Gandhi? That's what we're doing? I know Texas is a red state, but Jesus Christ, what?" So
I mean,
this is
oh
where
my God.
this is where we're at in 2020. This is what's going on.
I mean, it's like
This guy's swimming in
let's
racist
say
poon right now, though. I know that.
let's say you do believe this, right? Why the fuck would you think is a good idea to put this in your curriculum? Why? Like what? Like what is the thought process? Like what? Like
Because he shot some people to protect the gas station.
Have it on. It's not like you. It's like, oh yeah, Martin Luther King, fucking Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, what? It's like I don't know why people aren't seeing the situation for what it is. He's a dumb 17-year-old who put himself in a dumb situation, and he did some dumb shit.
Killed 2 people. In self-defense.
Yeah, exactly.
In self-defense. That's a gray area. But
no, but he should have never been there. Like, okay, let's say, like, even in the case that it's self-defense, he's a dumb 17-year-old. So, like, why is anyone calling him a hero, like a patriot? It's not like, oh my God.
Well, I'm just gonna go. I'm
weird.
just gonna go out on a limb and say that this was a MAGA minion. You know, because the MAGAs love themselves some Kyle Rittenhouse. We can all agree on that. The MAGAs love themselves some Rittenhouse. So I'm guessing this teacher, I hope they lose their job, but they probably won't. This teacher was just like, listen, this kid is a hero, and my students need to know he's a hero. So he's going to be in this assignment. And I said what I said.
Well,
I got Fab. I feel like Fab right now, like 1,000%. I remember when I started this, Fab was just like,
Well then,
like there's just nothing more to say. That shit was stupid.
Nice.
yeah. Well, what state is that again?
Texas.
Duh. Once they're all dead, then Mexico is going to take over Texas once COVID gets rid of them.
I mean, it was theirs first.
It was. It actually was. He's not wrong.
Well, moving on to the topic of people putting shit out that doesn't belong to them.
Yes, this story was also making its rounds on the national news wire. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. Obviously, Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players who ever lived, died in a horrific helicopter accident, along with his daughter Gianna, 14-year-old daughter, and several other young girls and coaching staff members, as well as both pilots. So the widow, Vanessa Bryant, is suing the LA Sheriff County because it has been proven, this isn't speculation, that a number of officers took out their cell phones at the crash site and took pictures on their phones of the dead bodies of Kobe and his daughter and kept for themselves. and share it amongst themselves with friends, like in a text message chain or something like that.
Damn.
Oh my god! Like hell, yo, guess what I seen?
Yo, bro, look what I saw.
That's beast.
That's crazy, bro. I don't even know what to pay to that. That is crazy.
I thought that this was like, I thought again it was like a rumor or something like that on Twitter, but and it was TMZ. Like, come on! But once I saw like a bunch of other national outlets jump on it, this is not fake news. This actually happened.
That's horrific, bro. What's wrong with people?
Clout.
It's like and didn't one of the guys allegedly, like it's not confirmed, but allegedly tried to impress someone at the bar by showing them footage?
Yes.
Holy shit, that's crazy. Like, yo, man, guess where? Yo, you want to see Kobe Bryant, but he's dead. Like, what?
He's like, so babe, what you drinking? Oh, you don't want to talk to me, huh? Check this picture out. The fuck?
Trash.
Son, this is wild, yo.
That is trash, bro.
People have no respect for privacy, and I learned recently that neither computers and Amazon Alexa is apparently been making its way into households. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but apparently Amazon released something called Alexa for residentials, and according to what they say, right, it's supposed to make it easier for property managers to do things like set up and manage like smart appliances and stuff like that. They want to use it to let residents like pay their rent, submit maintenance requests, things like that. But you kidding me, bro?
I don't know.
I don't even want an Amazon Alexa now, bro. You telling this is the most ridiculous thing ever, son, because it's just like, this is definitely, you're gonna put this device in people's homes. You telling me there's not gonna be one person that's gonna want to hack some of this people's shit? This shit is ridiculous, bro. Like, this is gonna lead towards a path of like just people just straight hacking tons of shit. They're gonna fucking hack you fucking, and then they're gonna put that audio and shit. They're gonna record you. They're gonna put it. There's gonna be a new website for amateur Alexa porn and stuff like that.
Amateurtenants.com. I can already see it. Like, nah, bro.
I guess the big thing to worry about is, right, like, I don't even want an Alexa right now in my home. Like, some people find that shit like, you know, it's convenient, whatever. But I have. But the thing is, it's just like, so here's kind of like the thing, right, is that there's really nothing stopping landlords from putting stipulations and leases that require residents to actually have this. And that's where I think people, where I think the worry may come. So, you know, I guess stuff like that works differently. You know, like housing stuff is a lot more complicated than that. But I think we should expect a lawsuit to come up in the future.
Absolutely.
Typically with this.
Absolutely.
Like, if this is a possibility, it's going to happen.
Dog, you're going to have
and I just don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of landlords being so involved in your stuff, bro. Because it's just like, I don't even like when landlords could come into your apartment to do inspections and stuff like that. Like, that's not cool with me.
You're gonna have some dirtbag landlords, because this is human trial. Like, they're inherently flawed. You're gonna have some petty dirtbag landlords to like get back at somebody who was like a dick, or like didn't pay rent on time, or just was an asshole, whatever. He's like, all right, word, I'm a dick. All right. So it's gonna freaking upload sounds of them or images of them in their bathrooms or some shit, or them having sex or them getting whatever, is gonna do some like shady like nonsense, bro. I can see the class action lawsuit formulating in my mind right now. Better Call Saul, where are you? Like, come on, man.
Here's like the thing, right? There's nothing stopping you from putting your own personal account, like linking it to it, right? And then it's just like, once you link it, like, what's to say that you can't find a way to get a hold of all that other information? Even if you put any type of security measure you put in place, someone will hack it. And you know what? A simple password is not suffice. It would not suffice, because like passwords are people are pretty fucking bad at doing passwords.
They're meant to
so
be broken.
It's like,
yep. Dude, Mr. Robot, that changed everything for me, dog.
Spot up.
Password
changed everything for me, dog.
I mean, if I was a landlord, I'd be concerned about that shit. Like, as a landlord, I wouldn't want that kind of scrutiny on my own shit. Like, this is a property I own. Do I really want Alexa or Amazon to access all this information about my building? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, even from
somebody could be
a landlord point of view, it's like, why?
Somebody could be freaking laundering money or like have a coke factory or have like a meth lab or some shit like that.
And now you can't.
And then you'll be liable for it because like, wait a minute, you had the software to look in on this and you didn't, so you were probably in on it. That's how the FBI is gonna come down on it.
Where's Lucius Fox when we need him?
Exactly. It made me think of that. Like once Lucius Fox had that technology at the end of Dark Knight,
to cut it down.
He's like, nah, Bruce, shut this shit down. I don't want.
And I resign, bro.
And I resign.
This is ridiculous.
You know what's crazy? It's just like when I was growing up, before we had this, I was super excited about the idea of these things coming, and it's just like the advertisement industry and just like the model that companies like Google have built in order to make money. It's just like it relies on just too much stealing of personal information, man. Like it's a shame that like something as powerful as like, you know, computers, technology, it's really been used to really kind of like manipulate people and manipulate.
It's the same thing they say in the movies of magic, bro. It's like, yeah, there's mad magic you have that's good, but just for as much as there's good magic, there's bad magic. Like there's people who are going to do the opposite of what it's intended to do.
Dog, it just made me think of freaking Snowden. It made me think of Snowden immediately when as soon as you start talking, I'm just like, all right, yeah, the government wants to use this to find terrorists. Inherently, yeah, that's a good idea. Like you definitely want to prevent another 9/11.
It sounds good.
Sounds good.
They're not stopping white terrorists.
Yeah, but you're not stopping the Klan. Like you're not stopping freaking neo-Nazis and boogaloos and all that shit. So what exactly are you looking for?
Wow, that's the deepest thing I've ever heard. There's good magic, and then there's bad magic. Holy shit.
Yup. And everybody out there, the best kind of magic is the base.
Hey, run down.
Chicka-pow.